A normal school day in the small town of Tumbler Ridge, in northern British Columbia, Canada, changed forever on February 10, 2026. At about 1:20 in the afternoon, police received a call about a shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. The town is remote and quiet, and this kind of violence was unheard of there. When officers arrived, they found something no one should ever see at a school. When police entered the school, they found multiple people had been shot. 6 people were found dead inside. Another person who had been shot died while being taken to a hospital. Investigators believe that all of these deaths were caused by the same person who was inside the school. The total number of people killed, including the person believed to be responsible, now stands at around 10. What must it feel like to be in a place that suddenly becomes dangerous? The police also discovered 2 more victims at a nearby home that is believed to be linked to the attack. They were found dead there, and investigators think the deaths at that home were connected to what happened at the school. In addition to those who died, around 25 other people were injured and taken to local medical centers. 2 of the injured were so seriously hurt that they had to be airlifted to hospitals for urgent care. Inside the school, officers also found the person they believe carried out the shooting. That person was found dead from what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police have said they believe they have identified the shooter, but they are not releasing the name yet, and they are not saying much about why this happened. Officials did share that when residents were first alerted, the suspect was described as a female in a dress with brown hair. Why would someone do such a thing? In cases of mass violence, there is rarely just one simple answer. Investigators usually look at many possible factors. Sometimes there are signs of deep emotional pain, untreated mental health struggles, or feelings of anger and isolation. In other cases, there may be personal conflicts, a desire for revenge, or a belief that violence will somehow solve a problem. Some attackers plan for weeks or months. Others act after a crisis or a breaking point. Experts who study violent crime often find patterns. Many attackers feel disconnected from others. Some believe they have been wronged. Some want attention. Some leave behind messages that show they were trying to send a message or make an impact. But even when patterns are found, they never fully explain the harm. It is also important to understand that most people who struggle with mental health challenges, bullying, or anger do not become violent. Violence like this is extremely rare. It usually involves a mix of warning signs, access to weapons, and a failure somewhere in support systems that might have helped earlier. Right now, in this specific case, investigators are still working to understand the motive. Until official findings are released, any clear reason would only be speculation. What is known is that many lives were changed in an instant, and the focus remains on finding answers while supporting those affected. At first, emergency responders did not know whether anyone else was involved. Police issued an emergency alert for people in the area to shelter in place, to lock their doors, and to stay safe inside their homes or buildings while officers worked. Later, that alert was canceled when police no longer believed there was an ongoing threat. The school where this happened normally has about 175 students from grades 7 through 12. That means the students inside at the time could have been anywhere from around 12 years old up through high school age. After the shooting, school officials announced that the campus and the nearby elementary school would stay closed for the rest of the week, and that counseling and support would be provided for students, staff, and families. What would you do if you heard an alarm and did not know danger was near? Some students have shared what it felt like from the inside. They said the school went into lockdown quickly after an alarm sounded. Teachers and staff directed everyone to secure the classrooms and to barricade doors with tables and benches so that no one could enter. Some students hid in safe places, including a shop class garage where they waited until police came and brought them out. Police and emergency responders had to move fast. It took just a few minutes from the first report for officers to arrive at the school. That quick response helped protect people who were not injured and helped get students and staff out of danger once the building was cleared. It is also part of criminal investigations to understand how someone obtained the weapon used in the attack, what the weapon was, and whether any laws were broken in getting it. Canada has strict gun laws compared with some other countries, and many types of firearms are tightly regulated or banned. But in rural areas where hunting is common, guns are more often present in homes. Investigators will need to piece together how this particular person got the firearm or firearms used in the shooting. At this point, police are also trying to understand the motive behind the attack. Investigators are searching for evidence, including digital messages, social media activities, school records, and personal connections. They are speaking with witnesses, family members of victims, and anyone who might have seen or heard something that could explain why this person did what they did. Officials have said clearly that they do not yet know what led to the violence. The community of Tumbler Ridge is small, with only a couple thousand residents. In a town that size, many people know one another. When so many lives are lost or changed in one afternoon, the impact is felt deeply across families, friends, neighbors, and classmates. Local leaders and community support workers have begun making plans for long-term support, recognizing that the emotional impact of this tragedy will last long after the headlines fade. National leaders also spoke about the event. The Prime Minister of Canada expressed deep sorrow and said that the entire nation mourns with those affected. Flags were ordered lowered at government buildings. Officials traveled or changed plans to show support. British Columbia's premier called the shooting an unimaginable tragedy and urged people to check in on one another and seek help if needed. How can a country show compassion when something terrible happens? This event is now one of the deadliest school shootings in Canadian history. Canada has had far fewer mass shootings than some other countries, a fact often attributed to the nation's strict gun regulations that have been expanded over many years. Canada's laws were strengthened after earlier tragedies. Many people look to those laws as part of efforts to prevent future incidents. But every time violence like this occurs, questions surface about whether policies need to change, and how communities and law enforcement can work together to reduce the chances of similar attacks. As the investigation continues, police will release more information about the victims, the suspect, and what led to these shootings. For now, the focus is on supporting families who have lost loved ones and helping those who were injured. Investigators will look at physical evidence from the scene, interview anyone who may have seen the suspect before the shooting, and work to reconstruct what happened. What steps are taken in an investigation like this? And how long might it take to find answers? In a small town like Tumbler Ridge, many households are likely connected to someone affected by this crime. The loss of life and the number of injured people mean that healing will be a long process. Experts in trauma and community recovery will often work alongside law enforcement and school officials, helping families and students cope with the emotional fallout. Even as questions remain unanswered, law enforcement officials have made it clear that they believe there is no ongoing threat. They have declared that there are no other suspects at large and that the shooter acted alone. Officers from the Major Crimes Unit and other specialized teams are now leading the investigation. What must it feel like to know that the danger has passed, but the pain remains? As days turn into weeks, the people of Tumbler Ridge and others affected by this tragedy will continue to search for understanding, comfort, and ways to support one another. These conversations matter, and staying informed matters too. Consider liking this video so more people can see it. And subscribe if you want deeper breakdowns of major events like this one.